How a simple ancient tool revolutionized trade and travel forever. Imagine living in a world where moving goods from one place to another was nothing short of a nightmare. Merchants were constantly risking everything, facing endless days of dangerous travel, unpredictable weather, and the constant threat of losing everything to thieves or nature's wrath. It might seem like something out of the past, but this was the harsh reality for ancient civilizations. What's even crazier? There was one simple invention, so basic, that it completely changed the game for trade, travel, and even warfare. That invention? The wheel. Now, this might sound like something we all take for granted today, but when it was first created, it was nothing short of revolutionary. Without the wheel, we wouldn't have the vast, interconnected world we live in today. The implications of this one invention were so far-reaching that it transformed everything from commerce to exploration. Let's take a deep dive into how this simple yet powerful tool completely reshaped human history. The wheel's game-changing role in trade. Picture this. You're a merchant, traveling from city to city, hauling sacks of grain, pottery, or even precious metals. Without wheels, the best you've got are sledges dragged by oxen, or worse, just carrying everything yourself. Sound exhausting? That was the reality before the wheel came along. When it was invented, it opened up the possibility of carts and wagons, which could carry much heavier loads, faster and more efficiently. This one simple tool allowed ancient civilizations to expand their trade networks, creating connections between distant cities, regions, and even countries. Think about it. With the wheel, you're no longer limited to walking or riding on horseback. Instead, you can move larger quantities of goods, which means a more robust economy and a chance for cities to thrive. The increase in trade didn't just impact commerce, it helped spread cultures, religions, and ideas across vast distances. What once took months, now took weeks, and sometimes even days. The wheel's influence on exploration. But the wheel wasn't just about getting goods from point A to point B. It also fundamentally altered the way humans explored and connected with the world. Imagine being an explorer centuries ago, trekking through the unknown wilderness, unsure of what you'll find. What you can't see is that the wheel is quietly revolutionizing travel. Early civilizations, like those in Mesopotamia or Egypt, were able to venture farther and expand their borders thanks to wheeled transport. With wagons, you're not just carrying goods anymore. You're transporting entire families, armies, and explorers. This laid the groundwork for the long-distance travel we take for granted today. Armies became more mobile, people began to settle new lands, and ideas flowed more freely between different cultures. Trade routes became more like exploration corridors, and those roads were only made possible thanks to the wheel. It wasn't just about getting from one place to another. It was about opening the door to new opportunities, new alliances, and new discoveries. Military impact of the wheel. Let's talk about the military for a second. Picture this: an ancient army on the move. Without wheels, you're stuck carrying heavy armor, weapons, and food supplies by hand, which could slow you down and cause disastrous delays. But with the introduction of the wheel, armies were suddenly able to transport everything more efficiently. This didn't just make military campaigns faster, it made them more strategic. Armies could carry larger supplies, which meant they didn't have to worry about running out of food or resources mid-campaign. The introduction of chariots in particular gave armies an enormous advantage on the battlefield. It wasn't just about being faster, it was about being smarter and more organized. Advancements beyond the wheel. Now, let's shift gears a bit. The wheel did far more than just revolutionize transportation. It inspired countless other inventions and innovations. Think about the pottery wheel. Before the wheel, pottery was a laborious task that required long hours of shaping clay by hand. But once the wheel was invented, it allowed artisans to create much more precise, uniform pottery in less time. This also led to advances in other fields, like construction and machinery. As ancient engineers began to understand how rotational motion worked, they started applying that knowledge to create watermills, windmills, and even early forms of machines that could multiply force. The wheel's simplicity became the foundation for an entire array of innovations that eventually led to the Industrial Revolution. Even today, most of the engines and machines we use, whether it's in your car or the power plants that run cities, owe their existence to the wheel's principles. Cultural and social impact. But beyond its practical uses, the wheel also had profound cultural and social effects. With the ability to transport heavier loads over longer distances, cities became more connected, leading to greater cultural exchanges. Goods, ideas, and knowledge started to flow freely between different regions, creating a melting pot of cultures that helped shape our modern world. Think about the bustling marketplaces in ancient cities. Trade wasn't just about the goods being exchanged, it was about the people and cultures meeting and interacting. The wheel made all of this possible by making trade and travel not only faster but more reliable. It's no wonder that societies that adopted the wheel were able to innovate more quickly and create thriving economies. The wheel's role in the growth of infrastructure. The wheel didn't just change how people traveled, it changed the way societies were built. As trade routes expanded and exploration flourished, the demand for better roads grew exponentially. The wheel pushed civilizations to develop more sophisticated infrastructure, leading to the creation of roads and highways designed specifically for wheeled vehicles. These roads weren't just straight lines across the land. They were meticulously constructed with materials and designs that would withstand the wear and tear of frequent travel. The Romans, for example, are famous for their engineering skills, and their vast network of roads was all thanks to the advent of wheeled transport. These roads connected vast empires, ensuring the rapid movement of not only goods but people, armies, and ideas. The wheel and the Industrial Revolution. It's easy to think that the wheel's story ended with the chariot and the cart, but its influence didn't stop there. Fast forward thousands of years, and the principles of the wheel were at the heart of the Industrial Revolution. The revolution was driven by machinery, machines that required complex mechanical systems, many of which relied on the rotational motion that the wheel first introduced. The steam engine, one of the most iconic inventions of the Industrial Revolution, is a perfect example. It's based on the same fundamental principles of rotating motion that the wheel uses. Early factories, mills, and even textile machines all had gears, pulleys, and wheels that worked together to multiply force and increase production speed. So, when you really stop to think about it, the wheel wasn't just an invention, it was a catalyst for the progress we now take for granted. From ancient trade routes to modern technology, it set in motion a chain of events that forever altered the course of human history. The next time you hop into a car or see a bike rolling down the street, take a moment to appreciate just how far this simple invention has brought us. And hey, if you found this deep dive into the history of the wheel fascinating, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Who knows? Maybe we'll dive into the next simple invention that had a huge impact on the world. Huge